All right, we're going off script. I've never once written a script that hasn't resulted in me sounding like a robot reading off a script, and I'm just not very good about it. We're just going to spitball it. Today we are going to unbox a chip tuning kit for the Honda CB125F. And before I get into actually unboxing it, I want to explain a little bit about what I've actually bought and why I think it's an absolute scam. So obviously I've brought along my laptop so I can bring up the website. We have ordered this device, this so-called motorcycle power unit, off of RaceXed. Now, it sounds really good, but everything about RaceXed is completely dodgy. Obviously, this is not sponsored content. I ordered one of these, and the help of a very generous subscriber chipped in 20 euros to help me pay for it. Mr. Cornel, you're an absolute legend. Thanks for helping make this happen. Because he sent me this information and said, look, I wonder if it works, and you might be crazy enough to try it. And so I did. One of the first things I want to address is the fact that their return warranty on this product says 14 days after purchase. So I've got an order confirmation within that 14 days, but they didn't actually ship the product for over a month. And it came from Poland to Australia. I have not opened so much as the packaging it came in yet, so this really will be a first reaction. So my understanding of what this device does is it clips onto the air intake temperature sensor, or the intake, it's the IAT sensor, the intake air temperature sensor. Now, I've yet to actually put eyes on this particular sensor on the Honda. However, it's not part of the intake, like ducting pipe. It's not on the throttle body, and it's not in the airbox. Looking at the parts diagram for the Honda, it is actually sitting under the frame, open air, just under the fuel tank. So I think I'm going to have to remove the tank off the Honda in order to make sure I can get to it clearly, because I'm also going to have to strip some insulation to access the wires, because these are quick splicing clamps. So we're actually going to cut the wires on the Honda to install this thing. And I want to make sure that I'm obviously getting the right wires, and that I'm going to give myself the best chance of repairing the wires if this device is complete junk. So apparently what this unit does is it intercepts the signal from the intake air temperature sensor. I've got to get that right, the IAT. And using a dial on the box itself will trick the ECU into telling it that the air temperature is colder than what it actually is. And the reason that's important is that colder air tells the ECU that we need more fuel, because colder air is denser, and so it needs more fuel. What we're hoping this will do is richen up the mixture on the Honda, because this bike is already ridiculously lean. We're hoping that it will tell the ECU that we need more fuel, and that will give us more power. The reason I don't think this is necessarily going to work is because the CB125F is a Euro 5 bike. And the reason that these devices, whilst they may have worked on older bikes, the Euro 5 ECUs send regular tests to these sensors. Normally what you would do is you'd blank the stock sensor off and send the signal through this device. Basically, these ECUs now are smart enough to go, that's not what I was expecting to see. And so it will say, I'm going to send you half a volt. And if I don't get half a volt back, then I'm going to trigger a code. To test this device, I'm going to be able to plug in my OBD2 scan tool into the bike. And theoretically, by adjusting the settings on this bike, I should see the air intake temperature on the scan tool raise or lower temperature depending on how I tweak the settings on the box. I am going to give this my best effort. I often say don't do what Nick does. It is in fact the motto of my entire channel. In fact, run the graphics. Now, I joke, I say don't do what Nick does, but I'm not without a certain degree of mechanical knowledge. I have a reasonable idea of what I'm doing. Actually, let me show you something. Okay. Where are we going? This way. Ooh. This young idiot here, about 20 years ago, was an army mechanic. Believe it or not, that is me. Shocking, I know. Everyone has a past, but I've had training. I have a reasonable idea of what I'm doing around a spanner. That gives me the confidence to take, I'm pointing at my laptop screen here, but it gives me the confidence to take a device like this that could potentially destroy my bike, knowing that I'm confident enough to fix it if it breaks. That's why I do half the stuff I do. I just want to figure it out. I want to see for myself. Everyone's telling me these devices are rubbish. I want to find out why, and I'm bringing you along for the ride. Right. So let's dive into this website and we'll have a closer look. So this motorcycle power tuning unit, motorcycle power unit. Chip tuning for Honda CB125F. Yeah, it's literally, this is about as in-depth as the instructions take you. I'm not going to go through the entire website with you, but I just want to highlight some of the documentation that came with this product, because there's a lot of word salad trying to make it sound impressive on what I'm pretty sure is just a resistor and a potentiometer. The thing about this website, and especially their YouTube channel, is it's almost like they've got a list of every model of motorbike under the sun and they've just copy and pasted all the information. And we'll dive into that YouTube channel in a minute because it is unprofessional. All right. I'm going to play this video on the screen so you can see it's legit.
In this video, we unveil a revolutionary motorcycle and scooter chip tuning that promises to completely transform your riding experience. Get ready to see your vehicle in a new light with enhanced performance that will leave you speechless. At the core of this...
Okay, this is their so-called installation guide, all right? I just want to make that clear. Chip tuning for motorcycle, power unit installation guide. You've got this AI voiceover that doesn't actually give you any information on how to install it.
Cutting-edge technology lies a device that prioritizes user convenience, integrating a simple on-off switch and a precision adjustment screw for fine-tuning your ride's performance profile. This chip tuning is meticulously engineered to enhance both power and torque across the engine's range, leading to a noticeably smoother and more immediate response upon acceleration. By offering customizable settings, It allows
Okay, customizable settings is literally turning this dial on the screen up or down. That's the potentiometer, which that's okay. It's a customizable setting, but it's literally just a dial.
Riders to tailor their vehicle's output to match their preferred driving.
All right, they're showing their clamp right here, but it's not actually attached to the device. They've literally just put a splicing clamp over a wire with no other wires attached.
Style or the demands of different riding conditions, ensuring an optimal balance between performance.
Now, incidentally, what they've got this spliced onto is manifold absolute pressure sensor, MAP sensor, or MAF sensor, mass airflow, manifold absolute pressure. This is what you'd find if your sensor was inside the intake pipe. But on the Honda and a lot of modern motorbikes, this is just venting to air, the temperature sensor. I mean, yeah, there's no way to read that on the dash, but they could easily have a dash that gave you the outside temperature read from that device, and that's probably how they do it in the first place.
And control. This advanced approach to vehicle tuning opens up a new realm of possibilities for enthusiasts.
Okay, the possibility is that you're gonna brick the wiring on your bike because this is only a basic sensor, but the ECU is constantly running checksums to make sure it's operating. So you can't just blank it off and hope that the ECU is going to read the lowest temperature and just give you max fuel all the time. Because the ECU will send a voltage down, and if it doesn't get that voltage back, it'll throw a code. And I can't remember the P code off the top of my head on the OBD2, but it is if you just blank off the IAT sensor, it will throw a low voltage code, which in other words, say it sends half a volt. With it blanked off, it'll get 0 volts back. There's your code. Now in this video, they haven't even attached the device to their, I can't draw a box around this.
Seeking to maximize.
This wire is supposed to be in that splice, not just hanging loose. So I don't understand what they're trying to show you here.
Their motorcycle or scooter's potential, delivering a ride experience that is both exhilarating.
See, if you see here, all this is going to do with no other wires attached to it is cut that wire in half. Now, when we dive into the box, it's going to have the other wire in the splice. I don't understand why they took it off for this video. It doesn't make sense. They're trying to teach you how easy it is to install, but what they're showing you here is dangerously incorrect.
And uniquely theirs. Installing the chip tuning is surprisingly simple. With the provided cables, just connect it to the 2 wires of your vehicle's IAT sensor. Following the guide included in the package, you'll be up and running in minutes with no need for special tools or garage visits.
Okay, the guide included in the package. Let's take it to the top. All the literature I have found. This right here is the guide. Put it over a wire, clamp the wire, fold the clip in half, you know, insulate it. This is as in-depth as that guide gets. All right, we're back down to our video. Now, I want you to pay attention here. 1:48, that is important, and I'll get on into that when I get over to their YouTube channel. Okay.
After installation, the improvement is immediate. The bike accelerates with vigor.
Okay. The improvement is immediate. In the literature for this bike, it claims that it needs to run for 200 kilometers before it starts working properly. How is that immediate? Tell me again.
Showing a clear difference in performance. This chip tuning not only enhanced my vehicle, but also made riding more enjoyable and thrilling. I highly recommend it to those looking to get the most out of their motorcycle or scooter without compromising on safety or reliability.
All right. So I wanted to react to that video because for every single model that they've got a video for, it's that exact voiceover. All right, we're not going to go through the entire website. You can pause the video here if you want to read these bits, but I will highlight them for you to read. There's a lot of word salad to make it sound really complex and impressive, and it's just, a lot of it is just repeating the same rubbish over and over again. I do find this interesting. Warning, do not fall into the trap of thinking that the higher the set value, the better the performance. This is because my understanding of this device is that when you adjust the dial, you're setting it higher so the intake temperature will read higher, which will mean a leaner setting, which is important if your bike is running too rich. You want to lean it out with this device, theoretically you would set it higher. We want to run it richer, so we would be running it at a lower setting, like they're saying here. You do not find your motorcycle in our catalogue. I actually got an email from this company stating that for simplicity's sake, all the devices are identical. So I think whenever they get an inquiry about a new motorbike, they just run. Look, let's have a sticky beak. Okay, there's the video that we just watched on the website. Now, I want you to pay attention to their thumbnails here. Every single one of these is AI generated thumbnail vomit. And they all run, a minute 48, a minute 47. And just to prove a point, okay, we've got chip tuning for Honda CB125F.
In a new light, with enhanced performance that will leave you speechless. In this video, we unveil a revolutionary motorcycle and scooter chip tuning that promises to completely transform your riding experience.
It's the same video no matter what you click on.
In this video, we unveil a revolutionary motorcycle
and I honestly think they've just stolen stock footage. Chip tuning for BMW.
In this video, we unveil a revolutionary...
Have I made my point?
In this video, we unveil a revolution...
Every one of these videos are advertised as being installation guides. The problem that I have is I can't find a single video on this chip tuning box that's not been posted by RaceX.
That promises to completely transform your riding experience.
Any returns are allowed within 14 days of purchase. RaceX, why did you take over a month to send my product? Now, what we have here is when I got my order confirmation, they sent me an email with this chip tuning guide. The problem I have with this is all this is just word salad saying how great the device is, how amazing it is. There's not really that much. This is probably the most important part, and that's identifying what kind of sensor your bike has. In the video, I was saying that they showed an installation on the MAF sensor, that's mass airflow sensor, which is normally mounted in the intake pipe. Now the air temperature sensor in this case is separate, as I've said multiple times already. There should only be 2 wires. I'm pointing at my screen like you can see, but yeah, there should only be 2 wires on this air temperature sensor, which I'll get to in a minute. Ignore, like, what is this? Ooh, they're showing a graph with dot points, but that doesn't mean anything. What is this? You will receive a device programmed for your motorcycle. Dear customer, to reduce costs, a single package is used for both cars and motorcycles. Unfortunately, the crisis does not allow us to make boxes divided. What does that mean? So I've spent all this time bagging out how dodgy the RaceX website and their YouTube channel comes across. Like, there's no 2 ways about it. What we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at where is it? The workshop manual for the Honda. Now, okay, yes, this is the shop manual for the CB125F. They're mechanically identical. Okay, we want electrical system. Okay. This is what I was talking about, the P codes, P107, map sensor malfunction. This bike's not fitted with a map sensor, but the code means the same thing. If it senses a low voltage, apparently the engine operates normally, which when I had the engine light pop up with the absolute throttle position code, it would put the bike into limp mode, and that was bloody dangerous when you're going at full throttle and all of a sudden you lose half your power. So I'm hoping that even if we do get an engine code, the bike will still run. But that is what my scan tool is for. We'll be able to see what values the ECU was reading off that scan tool. P0112 is the... No, I don't want to edit this PDF. IAT sensor malfunction, low voltage. This is what would trigger if you unplugged the IAT sensor or tried to just jump the terminals. Yeah, we're hoping that it won't trigger a limp home mode on the bike and it will still ride even if it throws a code. Okay, so sensor unit, here we have, as we see, our sensors are all tucked right up here under the tank, which is why I think the easiest way to do this work is to remove the tank, which on this bike is not that simple. I might do a video on how to remove the tank. It's not that it's difficult, it's unplugging all the bits and pieces that are attached to it that is fiddly, because you have to do it with this much gap. With the tank removed, we should have easy access to these sensors, and it's not particularly clear. It is this series of sensors that's tucked right up inside the tank, and it's positioned so you can't just reach up there and unplug things. So I am not looking forward to pulling that tank off because it is difficult. But it's what I'm going to have to do to locate the IAT sensor. So we'll keep going down now because I want to show you the wiring diagram, which is really important. You want to make sure that you're splicing the right wires. So what we have here, okay, this is our sensor assembly that we just saw above. The IAT sensor is a white and green wire. So I know that when I get in there, I've got to splice the white and green wire. Now I don't know if it means one's white and one's green because there's nothing here. But every one of these sensors is spider-webbed into each other. My main concern with installing this product is making sure I've got enough access to the wire where I can crimp in a connector to repair that connection once I remove this device. So when I get in there, I'm going to have to strip off the insulation and try and pull as much wire out because I've got to make sure there's enough room in the harness to put these crimps on in the first place. So yeah, I won't really know what it looks like until I get in there and get my hands dirty. I've been at this so long that my coffee has gone cold. I've got my GoPro down there. Hello. I know the GoPros are not brilliant at doing close-up stuff, but I'm working with what I've got here. Now, we've got to appreciate the fact that they didn't just send it in a plain brown box. There's something else in there that I want to go through later. Again, all it's doing is making bold claims as to what it does, but this is it. That's all that fancy box for this tiny little device. I'm actually impressed that it's I was worried that I was going to have what I thought the whole box was going to be about as big as this packet. There's no instruction manuals or anything like that. In theory, it is really simple. Our product meets the highest standards of the Association Connecting Electronics Industries and Polish International Production Standards. IPC certificates are recognised around the world for guaranteeing the quality of products and services industry. I'm pretty sure that that's only claiming about these connectors. All right, let's get a close-up here. All right. I am just going to twist those in. So, on this side, you can see that one side is blanked off, okay? That will be the side that we put these connectors in. I'm saying that because that's what I know. There is no information in RaceX's so-called installation guides as to where to put these wires. I don't know if I can even show you clearly. I don't think any of my cameras is going to show that clearly. So basically what happens is we need to load this wire up so it's butting up against the back, and then we will load the wire on the bike through. The difficult thing will be ensuring a secure connection. And of course, what's going to happen is this crimp, when we put it down, is going to jump the two wires. Okay, on and off, on and off. The one thing I really feel like I need to complain about, they could have at least supplied some double-sided tape so you can stick this device somewhere on your bike, because as it is, it's hanging loose. I'm gonna have to get some cable ties and try and mount that in. So I'm gonna use this as a pointer. That is an absolutely tiny adjuster. I actually don't know if I've got a screwdriver that is that small. And I have some pretty finite tools, I always have had. So I'm definitely gonna have to go digging and find, I used to have a jeweler's set of screwdrivers, which is what I'm gonna need to make those adjustments. This is what I wanted to avoid, is the fraying of these wires. So, one thing I do need to say is don't push these down until you're actually ready to install it, because I don't know how easy that would be to pop back up. I am going to give my very best effort into making sure that this is installed correctly. So I won't want to worry about anything like loose connections or anything like that. It is going to be really time consuming, I'm afraid. As I do these videos installing this, I will be going in depth. I will be monitoring what the ECU reads through my OBD2 port, which will tell me whether or not this device is actually intercepting the signal of the IAT sensor, because I can read that in live data and I should be able to freeze that data and compare it. I'll confirm this when I plug it into the bike, but I'm pretty sure I can read the air-fuel ratios off the device as well. Ultimately, that's what's going to tell me if it's making a difference. If I can read the AFRs, I should be able to tell whether or not the device is actually doing anything. I still don't understand why it comes with an on and off switch. I mean, why? Incidentally, RaceX make out like this is their product, but there's not a single RaceX logo anywhere on the box. And even though it says motorcycle control unit, maybe I can still show you down here, motorcycle control unit on the box, you could probably use this on any vehicle with an IAT sensor. All right, now I did waste some money last year and I haven't really talked about it on the channel. I found one secondhand. This is an EJK, an electronic jet kit, so they call it. And it's a piggyback device that plugs into your fuel injector. I thought I'll get one and I'll plug it into the bike and just see what happens. Unfortunately, the device I got has completely different plugs to what they showed me on the website. So before I even have a chance of plugging this into the bike, I need to unpin these wires and pin up something that's actually going to fit the injector on the bike. It's theoretically very simple, is you plug one end into the fuel injector on the bike and the other end into the lead, the stock lead. And this device here, it adds fuel or takes it away. I knew that this was not going to be a smart investment, but somewhere along the line, I'd like to see if I can get this to plug in. Again, this is secondhand. I wasted a bit of money, but nothing compared to ordering it new. Incidentally, this is the harness for a Yamaha R1. It's not going to go on the Honda without some tinkering and tooling, unfortunately. But between you and I'm pretty confident that I can unpin this and get it to work. To show you why, this is the stock injector off the CB125, minus its O-rings because I borrowed them. That is an US car or US car connector, and obviously that's not going to fit any of these other plugs, is it? Yeah. Yeah. So I plan to buy a blank set of connectors, and when I get my blanks, I'm going to pop open this box and see if I can't figure out which wires I need to unpin. Fucked if I know. If anyone wants to send me about $500 Aussie, I'll go and buy a brand new EJK to fit the Grom, and we'll go from there. That's not the only paperweight that I bought last year. I like the idea of the EJK, but oh, hang on. There's some double-sided tape and Velcro from the EJK that I'm going to use on this kit, because I was just complaining about not having anything to stick it down with. So, yay, happy accidents, I guess. If you're wondering, in fact, what else I wasted my money on, I don't like people telling me what will and won't work. I have too much of an inquisitive mind. I don't mind wasting money to figure it out for myself. I did do videos on this, but it didn't gain a lot of traction. This is an ECU tuning box. This is obviously the Chinese ripoff of the Alien Tech KES V3, or this is the V2. Predictably, this wouldn't even register, which I was a little bit disappointed in, because I really wanted to start getting into ECU tuning. I wanted to at least see if I could pull the file. I'll put a card up here for that video. Basically, all I did was I opened this box up, had a look, didn't know what I was looking at because I'm not a PCM freaking specialist. But I plugged it into the Honda and tried to see if I could get it to communicate, and of course I couldn't. Big surprise. So, you know, between the KES and the EJK, I probably spent enough money to put some tyres on the Duke. So yeah, I'm of a split mind whether or not I should install this straight away. My theory in beginning to modify the Honda was that if it does break down, then I've got the KTM Duke sitting there that I can ride until I get the Honda fixed. However, the KTM has a leaking fork seal, which I shouldn't be riding it until I fix that up. And before I even attempt to replace the fork seals, I need to buy the fork seal seating tool, which is about $60, on top of ordering the seals and on top of ordering the fork oil. The Honda itself is due for new sprockets and a chain, because I mentioned it in my last riding video, was that it's stretched to the point where I'm running out of adjustment to tighten it back up. So I really need to think about replacing those chain and sprockets first, which is only going to cost me about $50 all up anyway. So I really am of a split mind. It's like, if the Honda becomes unrideable, then I could risk riding the Duke with a leaky fork seal. And if I install the RaceX device on the Honda and break it before I do the chain, well, then I shouldn't be riding it anyway. But if I install it and it works, then replacing the sprockets and the chain is maintenance that I need to do anyway. So I really am undecided. Look, the Honda is running. I am potentially going to make the bike unreliable or unrideable. But I shouldn't be riding it. I don't know. I'm going around in circles here. We all know that I'm going to go out there and put this device on anyway. That's just the way it is. There's no two ways about it. It's going to happen. All right. That will do for this video.